Yes, that's true. Okay, let me make sure. Are we rolling? Yes, we are rolling. Hi, this is Eyton Shalom at the Body Mind Wellness Center, and I am doing dry needling on my friend here with an IT band overuse syndrome from doing a lot of spin bicycling during the quarantine, the coronavirus quarantine. So I've already, I can move the camera. I've already marked some of the points I'm going to be doing because my philosophy of treatment is to do the major trigger points and the minor trigger points because I want to treat the whole person. So I'm going to be doing points on her IT band, especially the predominant pain is down below where everything attaches and the muscles attach and the IT band overlaps, the fascia overlaps all of the muscles that are attached to the bones here. I'm also going to be doing the peroneus. She's got a major trigger point in the peroneus, and the peroneus attaches to the same spot where the fascia overlaps. And then a point on the lateral gastroc. And then I'm also going to be doing the piriformis and the quadratus femoris. So the quadratus femoris, which is often overlooked by people, the piriformis and quadratus femoris are both lateral rotators of the hip. And she complains of a very tight hip. That was actually her initial complaint, that her hip was tight, and then when we talked about it more, we could figure out that it's more what's going on in the knee. So this is an amateur video. I am filming on my camera. Okay, so here we go. So I'm using the needle here, and I'm going to start at the top, closest to the hip, and there we go, right there. So take a, can I use your name? Should I use a fake name or your real name?
Oh, you can use my name.
Okay, so Marshall, take a breath and exhale. So I am guiding the needle in with my left hand and inserting it with my right. And the goal here is to insert it until I get a twitch response just like that. And you okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And with the IT band, because it's this long sheath of fascia, there's not just one trigger point that to be relieved in the fascia. It's not like you can artificially say, well, I'll find the one trigger point that's causing all this. There isn't one trigger point causing all this, as some physical therapists would sort of, for some strange reason, maintain that dry needling involves only one point. It's not true. Dry needling is releasing trigger points, and muscles have multiple trigger points. Fascia have even more. And also the fascia overlaps muscles. So when I get down towards the knee, I'm needling trigger points in different muscles as they overlap the fascia, and also using dry needling to reduce inflammation in the fascia. Because we know from science that whenever you put a needle into the body, there's a response in the brain that involves release of endorphins, as well as cortisol, stimulation to release cortisol from the adrenal glands, which is anti-inflammatory. There we go. Did you feel that? Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring the camera closer so next time around, well actually, if you don't mind, let's see if I can show people the, probably this camera's not good. You okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, good. I'm going to put this boy back so I can proceed and get your...
Why is it dry needling? Is there wet needling?
Very good question. Yes, because the term dry needling was coined by Western medical doctors that are specialists in physical medicine who would inject trigger points with lidocaine and other anesthetics as a treatment to deactivate trigger points. And then
when they do like cortisone?
Yeah, like, well, no, those are cortisone injections into the joint are different. Okay. Doctors who would specialize in treatment of trigger points. And that was pioneered by a woman named Janet Travell in the 60s, and her associate, Dr. Simon. So they would inject, she mapped out the location of the trigger points. She was the first person to map them out. And And just for the record, in Chinese medicine, in classical Chinese acupuncture, we also have trigger points, and they're called assure points. But she was the first, but they're not mapped out. You rely on your palpatory skills to locate them. So I would, move down. If you complain of pain here, I'd find it with my finger and then put a needle in. She mapped it out, and her therapy was to inject lidocaine. Okay. Now, we can go back to the Dr. William Osler, the father of Western medicine in Philadelphia. At the time of, it's the 19th century, like the mid-1800s, he did dry needling with hat pins. And he describes in his works, you can read it easily enough, doing a dry needling of the piriformis muscle in the buttock for sciatic pain using a hat pin, because that's what they had available. Yep. Using a 3-inch hat pin, because that's what it takes to get into that muscle correctly. So just to say one thing, that what is dry needling? It's deactivating trigger points with needles that are not hypodermics. Got it. So they did hypodermics with lidocaine, and then for some reason a study was done. Somebody suspected that the efficacy of was the needle and not the lidocaine. So they did a study in England, lidocaine, saline, and dry. And they found that all three had the same effect, and they started calling that dry needling. So when physical therapists do dry needling, they actually use acupuncture needles. There is no such thing as a dry needle unless you're using a hypodermic without fluid. That's a dry needle. So we all use the same needles, different sizes, and so the dry needling is using a needle to deactivate a trigger point, and it's the mechanical action of the needle on what's called the muscle spindle. Great question, thank you. All right, so take a nice breath, and you'll notice I'm having her breathe, because these are strong points. Oh. Yeah, you okay? And that one, I could feel the fascia releasing because of the twitch response, and then also it made her jump a little bit. Now she's very experienced, but it's still a strong sensation. Take a nice breath again. And you can see why I'm not just doing one point, because I'm getting this response on all of these points. So why would I just want to do one? It would be like saying, well, just roll out your knee in your IT band with a roller in one spot. Okay, as we get to the knee, it's going to get a little bit stronger, because it's even tighter there. Ooh, yeah. Very ropey bands, what we call ropey bands. Let me get some more needles. At the same time, I'll double check the camera that we're still rolling. Yes, we are. And I'm going to sit down now. And so I'm going to just gently press here. Okay. Take a breath, Marshall. And there we go. You okay? And that one is a very shallow insertion. And okay, here we go. And I can feel with my finger, before I put the needle in, that it feels kind of like unworked clay, as opposed to the way it would feel if I just pressed on her arm or somewhere else that's not tight. Take a nice breath, keep breathing, and say stop. Tell me stop if it's too much. I'm going to do this lifting and thrusting. Okay, there we go. That's enough, right? Yeah. Yep. And I can feel it feels inside. It feels like unworked clay. Now, if she were under anesthesia or something, I would keep lifting and thrusting. But you can only do as much as the person can tolerate. Okay, take a nice breath and exhale and keep breathing. You okay there? Oh, yeah. There we go. Feel that jump inside?
That was a deep one.
Yeah. And
I could feel it further down my knee from that one.
Yes.
Big time.
Good. So she can feel it further down her knee, because trigger points can have patterns of referral pain. Trigger points have patterns of referral, and that's why you could have, for example, pain.
I can feel it all the way in my foot.
Yes, exactly. And that's not your nerve. Trigger points have predictable referral pain patterns, and that's why you could have a headache with pain behind your right eye being referred from a trigger point at the base of the skull, for example. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. I'm just making, yeah, so it's pretty far away over there, but that's how it's going to have to be for now. And are we still rolling? Sorry for the amateur video. And oh, I think we're down to 8 seconds. Okay, Eyton Shalom at the Body Mind Wellness Center. I'll be